Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. The Bloomington Redevelopment Commission met on September 2nd. City Engineering Director Roy Ayton asked for funding to pay a disposal fee for lead-impacted soil taken from the future site of the B-Line multi-use trail. Ayton explained that parts of the project were already approved by the Redevelopment Commission. However, they had not anticipated a disposal fee.
We have already approved to the RDC the resolution to have them do the actual contracting work of picking it up. What we did not have though was, because we did not know the quantities of soil until now, there's a disposal fee that is from Waste Management to take the soil up at Twin Bridges. They have invoiced us now. We've added that to our agreement with Caramita. So this addendum number 2 to their resolution is in the amount of $11,666 and is the disposal fees from Twin Bridges.
Board members approved the request. Later in the meeting, City Attorney Dana Kerr introduced a request to allow Weddle Brothers Construction to temporarily store materials in the Convention Center parking lot, which is co-owned by the City and the Redevelopment Commission. The storage would be for the duration of construction of the new Convention Center expansion. Board member Randy Cassidy inquired about how the change might affect parking for the Convention Center. Kerr responded that they had not negotiated those terms.
How's that going to affect parking?
You mean current parking for the
Current parking.
for Convention Center?
Yeah, current parking.
Yeah, I was going to ask that same question.
That's my concern as far as we're.
Yeah, I didn't negotiate that. Do you?
Board Vice President Sue Scambaluri asked if the Convention Center was aware of the request. Board Director Anna Killian Hansen then asked for more information about the deal.
I wasn't even consulted about this. I don't know anything about this.
Okay.
Do we have some, it sounds like we have some additional questions before.
Yeah, who negotiated this to begin with?
Corporation Council member Margie Rice explained that the Convention Center is aware of the request and that they are in support of it.
Make sure, Dana, I did hear Dana just say that the Convention Center is aware of this. They're super excited about the Convention Center construction. They've been communicating on a regular basis with the CIB and their representatives, and they brought this to our attention to bring to you guys for your consideration. And so that's what we're doing tonight, bringing to your consideration. There's been no concerns at all. Talisha was on the original email when Weddle Brothers said, hey, we're going to need some area for staging. And so they asked, what area was available. And so Dana put this together for your guys' consideration. But for sure, the Convention Center is aware of this request. And I think they're on board because they want to do whatever they can to facilitate the construction of the Convention Center.
Rice went on to further explain the process of approval in an effort to clear the air.
A lot of these, as you can imagine, a lot of things that come to you guys have gone through a lot of different conversations with staff before it lands in a public meeting. And so this is just an example of that. Yeah, I think the different boxes have been checked before it came to you guys for consideration.
Secretary John West explained that the issue could have been clarified better to avoid confusion.
I think that this probably would have gone smoother if the resolution had maybe indicated that the Convention Center operators were involved in this and approved it, because the way we got it, it was kind of a dead-end topic, and as Randy said, it looked to me like we were just taking away parking spaces that the Convention Center might likely need. So that was the issue.
The board ultimately voted on the matter and the request was passed unanimously. Next, Redevelopment Commission member John West introduced a proposed agreement regarding Merrill Lynch's lease termination.
Okay, so we negotiated with Merrill Lynch their termination of their lease at Showers West. What they requested was to be able to stay until March 31st, and they'd like to not to have to remove their equipment and furniture. They want to just walk away, and in return for that, the city would not need to reimburse them for any moving expenses or anything under the lease agreement. So this is, we considered it a win-win because the city, RDC is not paying anything, and they will be out, and it just, we still got some tenants that we're working with, and so it's we feel that this is a good way to go. And you know, if others wanted to do the same thing, stay till March 31st and not the RDC not have to pay any moving expenses, then they could step forward and do that as well.
Margie Rice stepped in to share her personal experience with Merrill Lynch and add her opinion on the matter.
Yeah, and I can jump in here. I have been working, Merrill Lynch reached out to CBRE, which is a, company that works in multiple states. I've been working with one of their transactions personnel out of Cleveland, and he's been interacting with Merrill Lynch in New York. And so the local team, I had originally reached out to the local team, Eric Sewer, and met with him, and then was quickly directed to these other professionals to work with. And I think this is a great deal for the city of Bloomington. Frankly, it's probably the nicest office space in Showers West. They had not long ago updated that office. And so the fact that they want to leave their furniture, again, I don't know exactly if they're going to take any of the furniture with them, but what they don't want, they'll leave, and their fixtures will not be a problem for us. I think it's to the city's advantage to walk away, and they've been very professional. They understand the terms of the lease, I think, from a kind of a more global perspective, and they've been very good to work with, and I would highly recommend that we take this offer.
The Redevelopment Commission approved the motion. John West then went on to introduce a similar proposition in regard to the termination of the Bloomington Health Foundation's lease at Showers West.
This resolution is similar to the Merrill Lynch, but this is the Bloomington Health Foundation. And the key terms that were negotiated with them was that the RDC would waive the lease payments for August, September, and up to October 15th, that they would leave the property by October 15th of this year. And for their moving expenses, they are asking for the sum of $19,542.50. Again, with the other potentials Margie mentioned with litigation and things like that, the fact that they're going to be out earlier and be able to get moved into a new location, I believe this would be a benefit to the RDC in the community.
The motion on the Health Foundation passed unanimously. The next meeting of the Bloomington Redevelopment Commission will be held on September 15th. The Monroe County Commissioners met on September 4th and approved the schematic design for the Monroe County Justice Center. DLZ project manager Scott Carnegie explained the process, saying the schematics must be approved before moving on to the design development phase. Commissioner Jody Madeira says despite roadblocks put in place by the state, the project should keep moving.
We know that it's important to move ahead, and we know that there is a legislature that's looking at us to move ahead. And so we need to send a very clear message that we are moving ahead, and I think this is the clearest way to send this message. So
Commissioner Julie Thomas asked about the time frame for the project. Carnegie said that they have a tentative plan in place if the schematics and additional approvals move forward in a timely manner.
And then if we receive design development approval, then we have construction document presentation to the county and for approval on June 23rd, 2026. Receive bids August 2026. Begin construction in October 2026 with construction substantially complete in June 2029.
The commissioners approved the schematic design, allowing DLZ to continue on to the next step in the design process. Also during the meeting, Rural Transit Director Chris Myers reported that ridership rates have remained similar to last year. He also explained that the program recently replaced 2 16-passenger vans. Going into next year, Myers said the insurance for the vehicles will be increasing.
And public transit is one of those high-risk areas just by the nature of being on the road the way we are, unfortunately. We're at the whims of insurance, and I hate it.
Also during the meeting, the commissioners ratified the renewal for the High-Tech Crimes Unit Memorandum of Agreement totaling $285,000 annually for the next 2 years. The agreement covers the administration and maintenance of the unit. The High-Tech Crimes Unit serves multiple surrounding counties in addition to Monroe, including Owen, Marion, Morgan, and Orange.
So our high-tech crimes unit is a hidden gem. Literally, it is hidden back there in Ellettsville. And it is something that we should all be very, very proud of. It enables us to do a lot of good work for a lot of counties. And I'm personally very, very proud of it and honored that we have it within our borders.
The next Monroe County Commissioners meeting will be held on September 11th. At the Bloomington City Council meeting on September 3rd, council members heard a resolution that would designate the city as a certified B city. Chair of the Bloomington Environmental Commission, Carrie Albright, presented the resolution.
I appreciate getting a moment just to talk a little bit about the Bee City USA program, just so you understand. I'm happy to take your questions if you have them after. But basically, we are hoping for your approval of a resolution that we would then submit to be a certified Bee City. So as is common knowledge at this point, climate change and human practices are endangering pollinators. Right now, I believe 35% of native bee species, for example, are at risk. And what we would like to do is participate in a program that shows that Bloomington is taking steps and has taken a lot of steps to protect pollinators. So there are different reasons why pollinators are struggling, and a lot of those things are elements that we can do something to address. Some examples are habitat loss and degradation, the use of pesticides, certainly diseases and pathogens, and a larger scope of the climate crisis impacting pollinators.
Albright went on to describe the rationale behind why the Environmental Commission believes that it's important to cultivate a pollinator-friendly habitat.
And I'll just go ahead and read these, are that it helps ensure the survival of vital species crucial to our planet's functioning ecosystems. The certification through Bee City USA, which basically provides a framework for how municipalities can implement pollinator habitat improvement programs. It recognizes and it celebrates our city's ongoing work on cultivating pollinator-friendly habitats and removing invasive species. And it joins Bloomington's other existing certifications. We're a bird town, we're a tree city, I believe we're a gold level bike-friendly city, so there's a lot that Bloomington has to feel proud of, and we'd love to incorporate this certification as well as some of the different partnerships that we've participated in, Project Wingspan, MC Iris, obviously the work that we've done, the Habitat Connectivity Map, and then recently, IU was certified as a bee campus, so we worked with them as well on getting steps forward in the earlier months of the year. So we would be one of the first cities in Indiana that would be Bee City. We were beaten out by Columbus and Avon, but we'd be very proud to be the third one.
City Council member Isak Asari said that he is supportive of the resolution, but he wondered how much of the Bee City certification is symbolic and how the city could actually ensure success of the initiative.
Thank you so much, and I'm super supportive of this. So just amuse me with my line of questioning. Trying to understand a little bit between the balance between what we're doing that's symbolic and what we're doing that would actually have specific outcomes to our practices. And so specifically within the packet, we outline annual requirements such as hosting an event, submitting reports to Xerces, but we haven't talked about like local evaluation. And so like beyond the required report, how will we measure success in Bloomington? Like what do we want to see happen here?
Urban Green Space Manager for the city, Joanna Sparks, responded that the city is already following some of the guidelines outlined by the B City certification. Albright agreed and said that the certification would give the city recognition for work it's already doing.
And I will say, before I answer your question, that we're already doing lots of the things, and it's really exciting to have the potential to be acknowledged and to have sort of a license, if this is approved, to collaborate more deeply with the community on what we're doing, because that's where our biggest impact will be for the community, is if we can broaden our outreach aspect.
And as an additional note, obviously, we will be following up on this with the EC's annual report, so it may be that there are things that trickle through collaborative events that we host or different outreach activities that we participate in, that would be something that informally we would be sharing. But as far as an official report or evaluation of if it's worth it, or if we're finding value just as a local group, I think that, as Joanna said, we have a lot of initiatives that are already in place at this point, so it really is just kind of being able to be recognized for something that the city has already invested so much time and interest in.
And I think that really clarifies it, like the work that we're already doing. Do you feel like there's going to be additional work with the certification, like outside of some of the required, alignment with some things that Xerces is doing? But it sounds like, yeah, I mean, maybe not. Let me not answer the question for you, but is there additional work associated with this?
Certainly a little bit. We will form a committee composed of different members from throughout the community. We already have commitments from B Campus and IUB Campus, the Monroe County Identify and Reduce Invasive Species, Sycamore Land Trust, and of course the Environmental Commission. Carrie and Matt are gonna help us get the. I'm sorry, Carrie and Shannon will actually be actually helping us get our committee started, and we have requests out to several other organizations just to help build bridges and expand the work that all of us are doing individually and into a more of a collective effort. But as the committee liaison for the city, I will be responsible for submitting an annual report where we will, the Parks Department loves data, and we love metrics, and we love reports. So we'll have information to share for sure.
Thank you so much, Joanna.
Yeah.
The resolution was approved unanimously. The Bloomington City Council will meet again on September 10th. The Monroe County Election Board met on September 4th. ADA coordinator with the City of Bloomington, Michael Shermis, gave a presentation on accessible polling sites.
So many people around the county would know me as directing the Bloomington-Monroe County Human Rights Commission, but the other half of my job is to be the liaison to the Council for Community Accessibility and the ADA coordinator at the city. And we train volunteer surveyors on how to do accessibility surveys of businesses, generally restaurants and retail kind of locations. But we have been asked in the past to do things like the Monroe County Community School Corporation, and the county itself asked us to do several of their facilities, as well as to work with the election board about 5 years ago or so, to do all of the polling sites. And we greatly enjoyed that. It increased the interest of our volunteer surveyors getting to do something that was really about civic engagement. And so we appreciated that opportunity. And we worked out several things to help us make the polling sites more accessible and feel good about that contribution.
Shermis went on to make election board members aware of a new software that would make polling more accessible.
Since that time, in the last year, we have purchased a software to help us with that. And I'd like to say the difference is almost night and day, because the surveys that we've done in the past, I would have to say lacked professional look to it, and didn't really show it well in terms of what we know and what we can do. This software, which is called BlueDag, is a software that allows us to do this on a iPad or a tablet or a smartphone, and a volunteer surveyor can be quickly trained. We could train them within 1 hour, and then they can go out and do sites fairly easily. We've been working with it for a year and have learned how to customize it to the purposes that we are interested in, which is, yes, ADA compliance, but it's more about a functional accessibility. So how can people who are blind and people who use wheelchairs get into places that they need to get into, and what kind of barriers might they run into if they're not been addressed? So this software is fantastic at being able to do that. You don't show anything that you have that's fine. You don't worry about that. What you say is, if you see a barrier, is you take a photo of the barrier. So say something is like paper towels are 54 inches high. You'll put the tape measure and you'll take a photo of it showing that this is too high. And then when you compile a report, it comes up with, this is exactly why it's too high. You can see the photo, and here's the diagram of what it's supposed to be. So it offers the ADA rule and a diagram and an explanation of what it is. Included are like Indiana building codes and whatever other kind of regulations and laws are relevant to this.
He suggested a similar software for the county to use for polling sites.
Now, the difference between the software that we have and the software that I would suggest that the county might consider purchasing is that software is more kind of customized for voting centers / polling sites, and takes into account HAVA as well. And so it will also offer mitigations. So people frequently like, what does that mean exactly? My quick response would be something like, so let's say that they have a bathroom has the soap dispenser that is too high. It's too many inches. It's above 44 inches, so it's too high. A mitigation for that there can be several possibilities. One is just to place a soap squeezy thing that's there on the counter. That's a mitigation. There are several other mitigations involving parking, path of travel, bathrooms, the common areas where people might be, signage. There are things that they can offer and say, here's the suggestions if you can't fix this barrier. And the idea is that we potentially do these surveys in the next couple months, and then you can prepare all of those locations by the time that they would need to be addressed for the next election.
Shermis then said that the software BlueDag could give the county a discount for services of around $12,000 per year. He recommended that the county election board implement the software. Republican board member Danny Shields asked about the length of the contract and how long it would be needed. Shermis responded.
So is it required that this would be a long-term deal if we sign with them?
1 year.
Okay.
And so then
because it's, like, once you get it fixed, if we don't change polling places, it wouldn't need to be fixed again.
I would hesitate to say that just because people frequently remodel, change things up. And remember, I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in this assumption, that when you set up a site, you're customizing that site. You're putting up cones, you're doing different things, and some things can change. So I would say it would probably be smart to do it every couple years to make sure that it stayed accessible. But once would be better than not at all.
Election Supervisor Kylie Moreland said she thinks the county could use the software once every 4 years to ensure that they remain ADA compliant at polling sites.
I would say even doing it once every 4 years, like in the non-election years, when we're able to have time to look at the polling locations, the election board see if they're planning on using the same ones, and then the ones that we're not using, update those. with the ADA compliance with the software. I also want to say thank you for giving us the survey on the parking lot at North Showers. That's where early voting will be next year. So seeing that and seeing the things that need to be updated beforehand is great. Thank you.
So we need showers worked on before.
Yeah.
What? It would be how soon would early voting?
Early
Okay.
voting will begin in April.
January.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's why we thought, oh, we'll give them this so they know right off where they need to start. And the survey would be even more comprehensive in this, but this is a start for you to be able to see quickly what kind of problems that need to be addressed. So, yeah.
Democratic board member Penny Githens expressed concern about accessibility at the North Showers building. Sherma said that he has received complaints about the parking lot in the past. Shields then asked about ownership of the parking lot.
North Showers is used for a lot of other things besides early voting, and I would think that the county would want that to be ADA.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I've had other complaints about that parking lot. Because I'm the ADA coordinator at the city, everybody thinks that my powers extend far beyond that, and so I get complaints all the time. And I've had complaints about that parking lot before, and it's never been kind of clear like why it's not being addressed. But there are many issues with that parking
So
lot.
who owns showers?
Well, the county has responsibility for that parking lot. I did talk to the building department and our
They draft
public
the
works
bad luck.
person.
If it was the city, it's, okay, city, you're on it.
No, it's the county in this case. Yeah.
But I think there were plans too for repaving that particular parking lot, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, repaving and restriping are pretty much are minimum. I mean, there's some things that wouldn't be too difficult to deal with, the signage or whatever, but that's the issue, is the repaving and restriping.
County Clerk Nicole Brown reiterated that the North Showers location needs to be in compliance before the start of early voting, saying the county has 12 violations concerning accessibility.
Let me be sure that I understand, because I appreciate the citations. The citations are, this is what it should be. And then your finding is, this is not, it is not compliant at this time. So if I read this correctly, Monroe County government has 12 violations not being in compliance with accessibility issues, so that if we are going to use it for early voting, we have at least 12 things that need to be mitigated or brought as much as possible to put us closer to compliance.
Yeah, I would use the word mitigated, heighten that word, because in some particular cases, some of those barriers we could negotiate. So, for example, there's a stairwell that you get up to the second floor, which I assume many of the people who are going to the second floor to do polling work would go up there. It's supposed to have a continuous rail, and there is a section that's not continuous. That is a minor violation and doesn't really affect most things, because people can use the elevator. There's other things around. So, for example, that might be something that you could consider way down lower, and that's a further down the line barrier. But some of the other things are definitely, yeah, you should get those fixed before you do this kind of thing.
The County Election Board will meet again on October 2nd. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.